Yeah, welcome to the chat. As traders, we need to know that every move we make, every step we take, we must be as strategic as possible. Because in the market, any move without strategy, a trader does nothing but set himself up for failure. So, just as we need to be strategic in taking our trades, we also need to be strategic in taking our profits. And just as we need to be strategic in staying away from the market, we also need to be strategic in what? We also need to be strategic in taking our entries in the market. So the sole purpose of today's lesson is for us to know the dynamic use of support and resistance. Support and resistance, they are not just what? They are not just lines that are reversals and turning points in the market. They are beyond that. They have their dynamic use. They have a very big edge in the market if a trader knows how to exploit them. Trading is all about exploiting opportunities. If you do not take your profit at the right place at the right time, I can bet you other traders would do that for you. And as traders, I'm very sure you will not want that to happen. So for you not to fall a victim of that, that is why we are here in today's lesson. Our tutor is going to take us through the chart, show us the dynamic use of support and resistance, and how we can be strategic in taking our profits in conjunction with support and resistance levels. So as we all know, support and resistance, these are levels that are what? That are turning points in the market. At these levels, we have rejection of price. At these levels, we have the strongest buyers as well as the strongest sellers. So now, for instance, let us take this zone. On the weekly chart, at this particular level, we have what? We have a strong resistance. And as we have said, as we have heard from our tutor, a resistance line, this is where we have the strongest sellers. So the strongest sellers are in this zone. The most stubborn sellers, the sellers that are ready to what? They are ready to sell price lower. They are at this particular level. So the strongest buyers, where do we have them? The strongest buyers, we have them right here. They are at this particular level. They are the most stubborn buyers and they are ready to bid price higher as far as their money can take them. So these are where we have them in this particular week, this particular week. So now, support and resistance level, they are so dynamic that if price gets to this particular resistance, we have stubborn sellers that would want price to reject and drop further down. So stubborn sellers are here. Why? Right here we have stubborn what? We have stubborn buyers. So for instance, let us say you take a trade and you have an entry here. Where are you going to expect the buyers to reject price? You are going to expect them to reject price at this critical level. And as a buyer, let's say you are buying here. Okay, let's say for this week, maybe you are buying at this particular point here, where we have this arrow. Where we expect the stubborn sellers, you expect them at this particular level. So therefore, support and resistance levels that are critical, they can be used as areas to take profit, because we know that the whole concept of support and resistance denotes that we have stubborn buyers and sellers at this zone. We have stubborn sellers at resistance levels and we have stubborn buyers at support levels. So therefore, when price gets there, we expect a rejection of these zones. We can infer from this that once price gets to this level, there will be a rejection. So therefore, when we take our trades, we set what? We set our take profit at these levels as target. However, if you are a trader that already has a fixed risk to reward, maybe your risk to reward is based on pips. For instance, my risk to reward is based on pips. That is the tutor. Some traders, they have dynamic risk to rewards. So if you are the type that you have dynamic risk to reward, you can fine tune it using support and resistance areas that are sensitive. So now let's say, for instance, okay, when we took this trade at this level, at this particular level. When we took this entry here, the take profit was here, but you can see when price got to this zone, price rejected. So for instance, if we were using the support and resistance as take profit levels, we would have taken our profits exactly here, because you know that this is where we're having the most stubborn sellers that are likely going to reject price further down. So now let us delve deeper into the chart. Let us step into the deep waters to see how these zones are important and how we can use these zones for what? How we can use these zones as levels to take our profits, and as levels to what? And as levels to preconceive that price is likely going to reject. For instance, now on gold, you can see this engulfing pattern. So what happens? Price retest and price goes up. So now what do? Let us mark out our entry. Our entry is in March here. Let's mark it out. So now taking this entry March on a 4-hour time frame. Pardon, I use the 4-hour time frame for analysis as I am a swing trader, and this is the particular time frame I'm very comfortable with. You can use any time frame that you please for your analysis, but now for instance, let's say you're taking your entry on the 4-hour and you can see this engulfing pattern, price retest and price goes up. You are going to set your take profit at the high of February. Now let us go to the daily chart and check February. This February, this is where we took our trade. So this is the high of February. This is where we have the stubborn. This is where we have the stubborn. This is where we have the stubborn sellers that want to reject price. So this is the high. So this is a safe place to set your take profit. Or you can see gold is in our all-time high, and this is the high we have. So you can see this is the month of February. This is the high. Let us go back to the 4 hours. Let's go to March where we saw the pattern. So now taking your entry here, this is where you should set your take profit, because at this level price is most likely going to reject. However, gold is in a strong impulsive move, so you can see it went further up. Let us take more examples. When we see a valid pattern that meets all criteria, so we just take an example and see how we could have taken our profit. So the essence of this is for you to know the dynamic use of support and resistance levels and how they can be used for what? For profit taking. Week in, week out, day in, day out, the market will always give opportunities to what? Opportunities to buy and sell. So now for instance, you have a candlestick formation in this zone, and let us say you took your entry around this area. You took your entry January. So where is the safe place to set the take profit? You can set it, you are taking it on the 4 hours, you can set it in December's high. Just see December's high. This is the high of December right here. So let's say you want to hold this trade as a swing trader. This is the high. So you know that price is going to go to this particular resistance, and the stubborn sellers here, they want to push price down, and this is the particular level where we are taking our trade, and this is what happens. This is where we set our take profit. So you can see taking your trade here, price got to this level, because you know that at this level anything can happen. Price can reject, price can be stubborn, and what do you see? What happens? So it is that simple. It isn't complicated at all. Let us take more examples. Let's go to the 1 hour for day traders to see how they could have. Let's go to the 1 hour chart to look at patterns and trade entries. Okay, right here we have an engulfing candle 1 2 3. So now let us say that we took our sell entry here on the 30th April. So this particular zone, the support of the previous week, that's where we are going to set our take profits. So this is the previous week right here. This is the previous week right here. The entry is here. So the support of this previous week here, this is where we are going to set our entry. If you are not comfortable with this entry and maybe it is too far, what do? You could set your take profits at what are the support of the previous 2 days. You can see this particular day, there's a critical support there, and if that is too far, you can set your take profit here. And what happens at this zone, you can see once price gets to this zone, you can see rejections, and price is rejecting up before price is coming down again. So taking an entry here, you can set your take profit in this zone. You just look for the nearest support, the nearest critical support. So let's say you are taking a sell trade, you look for the nearest critical support on the particular time frame or a higher time frame. And if you are taking a buy entry, let us take examples for buy entries. Let me see a buy pattern, then okay, this is a buy pattern here. We have an engulfing candle, price retest. This is a beautiful buy pattern here. So 9th April. So let us go to the weekly chart. 9th April. So this is 9th April. This is the particular time. So this is the resistance of the previous week. You just set your take profit there. And you can see price got to this zone. This is the zone of take profit. You can see price consolidating. So it's that simple. Let me show you a trade on AED USD. Even though the trade failed, for me it didn't reach my particular take profit, but I will show you what could have happened if I had used the dynamic support and resistance level. Price stopped me out on this, but I just want to show you something. This is the particular trade. Price retested. So let's say I used this particular swing high, which is also a critical. We have stubborn sellers here. So if this was my take profit, price would have just given me my profit before coming to stop me out here. Because this particular swing, we also have stubborn sellers in this zone. But for me, I set the previous week's high as the take profit level, which price did not get to before it rejected. So these levels, they are not cast in stone. Sometimes price might not get to the level, but I can tell you more often than not, price will get there, and it's a beautiful level to set your TP. So you can see those are practical real life case scenarios for you to harness the support and resistance. So support and resistance, they are not just lines you just draw on the chart and maybe just expect price to pull back or whatever the case may be. These lines also serve as what? They serve as visual insights, visual perspectives into where price is likely going to reject away from. Let us look at this buy pattern, for instance, on the 4-hour on USD card. You can see this entry here. So now let's go to the daily. I've marked it. We didn't mark the date, but let's see if we are going to see our annotations on the daily here. Okay, this is the particular day that we marked. So you can see no obvious resistance level. This is the zone where we entered here. So you can see right here on the daily, no obvious resistance level in the past month. So let's go to the weekly. When we go to the weekly chart, maybe we are going to see resistance levels. Yes. So you can see no obvious resistance level. So no obvious resistance level on GJ. Let us check silver and look out for a beautiful trade. And now we got okay. On silver, there's a pattern right here, an engulfing pattern on 9th April. So let us go to the daily. Okay, this is the zone where we marked. So now going to the daily, this will be the preferable zone where we want to take our profit, which is kind of too far. So what are we going to do? We'll go to the far and look for the nearest resistance level, and this is the nearest resistance level. You can see the resistance of the past week, because price is far from there, so we expect price to reach there, and price hasn't still gotten there. So you just wait patiently. This is the zone where we took the entry. You just wait patiently for price to get to the level. So no need to rush. Once you are familiar with the support and resistance level, not just support and critical support and resistance levels, because every time the market prints out new support and resistance, as the market is an ever-changing environment. So once you have a critical support and resistance area, you can use it as a point to take your profit. So just as it gives us an indication into where price is likely going to trend towards, it also gives us an indication into where price is likely going to reverse from. And these zones where price is likely going to reverse from, once you have your entries, that's the zone where you set as your TP. So now let us say we are entering on this bearish engulfing. Where do we set our TP? You can see the support of the previous week. And what happened when price got to the support of the previous week? You can see the order flow changed. So now let's say you are greedy and you didn't set your TP at this support level, you still want price to tank down, price would have just spiked and reversed against you. So these are the hidden secrets of support and resistance. Don't know if your mentor taught you, but I doubt. So once you are aware of these realities of the market, trading will be nothing but a cakewalk. So right here, let's look, you can see this bullish flag, and let's say you take your entry on this bullish flag November 18. Let us go to the monthly. Let's go to November. So where is the nearest distance? You can see, since we don't have one that is too near, let's go to the weekly. And November, this is where we bought from. Let's go to the monthly. So actually Bitcoin is in like an all-time high, and that particular November, since you don't have a very strong support area that is near, a strong resistance area that is near, and you are taking this trade November, you just need to be careful. You should know that at this zone price is likely going to accumulate. You can see price broke it and continued going higher. But once you already have a support zone that is near that you can rely on, you can always use it as a reference point to take your profit. As I always say, and as I always say, in the market nothing is cast in stone, so you must be careful, and you should not take this as a rule that is cast in stone that price must get to that support and reverse. It can still get there and do anything, however the chance and the probability is close to low. So right here, let's say we are taking our entry on this bullish candle, so we'll do what, we just set our take profit at the previous week's support, which is the previous week's low, because we know that when price gets there, price would reject off, and you can see when price got there, price rejected before price came to break it further down. So if you are not okay with that distance, you can go to the monthly and just look at, you can see you have taken maybe the low of the past 2 weeks, which is this zone. You can see price also got there. So plan your trade your plan, and most importantly manage your risk and emotions. If you find it useful, like, subscribe, share and follow for more.